Good morning. This is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters, CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good evening and hello, kids, and welcome to the Daily Beaver Morning Show. Nights Ontario election results special. I am your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him. Hey, Mr. Beaver, eh? And it's just you and me tonight, damn fam. So glad that you're here. Yes, I see in the chat there. Well done, Douglas. And you know what? I'm starting to get the hang of this because those of you who were earlier in the chat before saw that I was doubting whether or not it would launch because for some reason the Ontario flag that I had put on as the sort of avatar for the show was not appearing um, when I went to the YouTube page. It was a scene of the city of Ottawa, and I thought, well, that's not what I programmed, so I wonder if it will launch. And when we launched the program, well, it launched on all the other platforms, but not on YouTube, where the damn fam usually comes and gathers. So we had to start again. But now I know for sure that if what I have programmed does not look on the YouTube channel like what I did, that it won't start, and therefore I can reprogram it right away and not have a false start. And now I will know. You see, acquiring knowledge, picking that up along the way. It's the things that happen. Sometimes, revelations happen. So anyway, today, recording day, is Thursday, February 27th. 2025, and it is Ontario Election Day. It has been a very interesting day because in 4 districts, for example, results are coming in a little later because there are things that happened. And as you know, if you've been following the show with me specifically, um, I ended up being disenfranchised because the vote by mail program did not work as it intended. And we did make a point of going to the actual returning office and trying to bring it. And we were told that all they would be able to do is put it in the post as if we would have from there. And there was no way it would have gotten there in time. And then my beaver sweetie did remind me that with all the snow that we got, maybe that is why certain things were delayed getting out. And it is actually a bit of a head scratcher that Elections Ontario, given the weather, did not announce that for people who were voting by mail, that maybe the deadline for which for their votes to be counted would be extended by a day or two, because while probably the number of those votes wouldn't be enough to swing anything in any electoral district, at least they could be added to the final tally, when they sort of do the audited numbers at the end, and the vote would still have counted. So a little interesting that Elections Ontario didn't change their deadline for vote by mail to reflect the weather, given that some of the ballots would not have arrived on time. that might be something for Elections Ontario to make a note of in the future. Of course, we have to our dear old Dougie to blame for that by sort of sliding in a snap election. We all knew he was wanted to do it, but we didn't know exactly when. And I don't think he really did know either. But the tariff thing sort of gave him the perfect pretext, and so he went for it. And everybody was caught a little bit off guard, which is surprising because everybody should have been ready because he's been telegraphing it. But still, everybody seemed to have been kept on off guard, right? The Liberals and the NDP didn't have their full slates, and clearly, Elections Ontario didn't have what they needed to do to be able to plan for every contingency. So the fact that the period was short and announced rather suddenly may have contributed a lot with people not necessarily feeling as enfranchised as they could have this time around. There were issues with ID cards as well, and um, some weird information going out about people needing to register, which is, I mean, a thing in Canada, but not a thing like it is in the United States. Most of our registration happens rather automatically here. You know, usually, pardon me while I have a little bit of water here. If you have to register in some way, it's because you've moved within an election year, or you're really, really new to Canada, or or it's your first time you're registering at all in any way, or something like that. But usually, from that point on, it's rather automatic. So there are going to be some questions to be asked about those things. So anyway, a long segue in that introduction before we got to thank our show's sponsors, the Peppermaster, the Miss B Mysteries from Corvinwood Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. Yeah, I see that Kid Boo barriers to democracy. Indeed. Indeed, indeed. Let's see who we have tonight joining us this evening. We have Kit Empty Nest Gardens, who came into the new chat and said hello. So hello, with a question mark, of course, wondering if they're in the right place. Kit Linda M, the original and the best. Thank you, my dear one. Glad that you're here. Hello, Mr. Jim, my good friend. And please give some big hugs to Mama Lori for me. It's so nice to see you. Kit Uncover, glad to see you, making new promos. Thank you so much for all your help. Kit Elaine here in the chat. Hello, dear one. I hope you're doing well. Kit Saucy, yes. Hello. It will work here with the wrench. And I saw that you did some good work. I think it was either this morning or yesterday morning there with that wrench. So thank you for that. I was rereading some of the comments after the show, and definitely saw that there was someone that um, that needed some intervention, which you provided. So I'm very grateful for that, and keeping the chat orderly. So your service is greatly appreciated. Kit Carlos, hello, dear one. Thank you so much. And again, for all the expressions of enthusiastic encouragement. We are very, very, very grateful, and we're glad that we can be here at the same time. So good evening to you, good sir. Kid Jen, my love. Actually, you know what? Uh, this is a special occasion, I would say. So just for you, I think I will splash on a little bit of the Lord of the Misrule here, because we might as well make sure that if we are doing the elections results, that we smell the part. There we go. Oh, that's some good stuff right there. Ooh, I smell sexy when you put that on. Thank you so much. I love that gift. I love that gift very much. Who else do we have here with us? Is that everyone this evening? No, 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 no. That is not everyone. We have Kit Janet S, who says, hello, everyone here. Not a name I'm familiar with in the chat. So if we are new to each other, hello, and welcome to the Beaver Lodge. Pull up a log, make yourself comfortable, stay a while. The Dam Fam, wonderful people, and I'm sure you will enjoy your time here. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Who else we have? Oh, we have Saint Bigfoot. That is definitely a new name for me. So welcome. There you go. Thank you so much, and welcome to the chat. Kit Christian, hello. Bonjour, mon ami. Thank you so much here. Yes, can't wait for all my health issues to continue being ignored. Yeah, indeed. It looks like we are set up for that, aren't we? Kit Breens, new to me also here on the chat. So thank you. Welcome to the Beaver Lodge. Who else do we have? Kit Suzanne, hello. Hi. Nice to see you this evening. A big warm beaver hug to you. Thank you for joining this evening. So nice to see you. Kit Christian moving to Mexico. And Kit Lori Sue has joined us. Hello, dear one. I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, from the United States, joining us to watch us today, this evening. So thank you so much. And Jay Crick sliding in at the last second for a Beaver Lodge hello from Mr. Beaver. So hello, my friends. Thank you for joining us. Mm. So we have an interesting evening in that it really didn't take long for CBC to call this election to what we all thought it was going to be, which is a conservative majority, a third conservative majority. I think the first since about the 50s, since in Ontario, or a third majority government, should say, not necessarily a conservative majority government, but a third majority government, the first since sometime in the 50s in Ontario. Thus, technically, of course, making Doug Ford, as everybody's saying, one of the most successful premiers in Ontario ever when it comes to electoral success. Of course, when it's going to come to his record, he will probably um, fail miserably when compared to the other two. However, it is a fact that he has indeed won, and it didn't take too long for that at all to go along to be named, mostly because in Ontario, a lot of the votes are calculated by tabulating machines. So, of course, the results come in quickly. Currently, right now, Mike Schreiner, the leader of the Ontario Greens, is addressing the crowd. If I remember correctly from earlier results I've seen, he already had a check mark, so he has already secured his seat. And so far, where the votes are coming in, the Greens are maintaining their two seats at the moment, I believe. So Aislinn Clancy in the Kitchener area and he and Guelph are maintaining their seats. The third seat that they thought that they would have had a good chance in is Parry Sound Muskoka. I have not seen any results from that area come in yet. I'm sure they've passed by, but with 124 seats in the legislature, the the things scroll by relatively quickly. So, but we'll see about that one, how the Green candidate did in that district as well, because that's where they were hoping to gain a third seat. So far on the election night, the Green vote share has dropped by dropped by 1.1% over the previous election, but still about 5% of the vote share at the moment. Sorry, the words are coming out incorrectly. The Greens vote, of course, is extremely efficient where they have it, because usually once you get a Green MP or MLA or MPP, you like them a lot, and you maintain them. So their vote is extremely efficient. So that's good. Here, Kit Carlos coming in the chat with some helpful information since 1959 specifically. So I knew it was in the 50s, but 1959. So there you go. Thank you for your service, sir, and for making the show better. Something tells me that Dan is not at all pleased. I believe that would be correct. And see, I think I know how to do this, but I do remember Dan told me if I was doing a show tonight that I should send him the link. So at some point during the evening, I'm going to try and talk and type at the same time in order to be able to send that to him, which will probably make for a awkward and stilted delivery for a little bit. But hopefully, I'll be able to get something to him so that I may have a guest on the show join me. I might be actually better off when I do it to just take a talk break for a couple of seconds while you all talk amongst yourselves, and I do that for that to be able to go as fast as possible. But yes, Mike Schreiner here addressing the crowd. Some interesting things when we were going to tune in tonight. We didn't think that the call was going to come that early because, I just didn't think it was going to come that early. But some of the questions that I had going into the night, of course, is would we be surprised somehow with a minority? And clearly the answer to that is no. Um, were the NDP going to maintain official opposition status? It seems that just minutes before coming on air, CBC had also confirmed through Decision Desk that that would be the case for the NDP. So that will maintain. And then the third question was, would the Ontario Liberals regain official party status? And even in some questions, people were wondering whether or not both major official parties, opposition parties, would maintain party status this time, because there was some modeling that was predicting, up to 105 of the 124 seats for the progressive conservatives, leaving very few clearly for everyone else, and therefore two opposition parties without official party status. And that matters a lot, actually, because when you don't have official party status, even though you're still a party, it doesn't dissolve your party, but you're essentially working as a group of independents under one banner, and there's money and resources and a time and question period to ask questions that are not automatically allotted to you, or not allotted to you at all when you are an official party. That is the case. So the number of seats for that in Ontario is 12. Pardon me. If It's true, we're not going to be doing this as podcasts, so I don't have to worry about the listeners and explain the pauses. It's just you and us. So in this case here, what we're looking at is, them having 12 seats each, uh, which so far is the case. So if I'm looking at the results right now in terms of seat total, there's one independent, which is something pretty spectacular. They mentioned her name earlier, and I don't remember it off the top of my head, but I hope to find that for you. But she was elected as an independent last time as well, and it looks like she is pretty much confirmed in that seat to remain as independent. So she must be one heck of a constituency MP to win 2 terms as an independent. That is very, very, very rare in Ontario politics. So we'll definitely find out who that is, and we will definitely reach out to this person, because that's someone we would definitely love to have on the show for an interview. I'm sure it would be very interesting to find out what special sauce she has, that to have such a good relationship with her constituents, that even without all the help of party machinery, that she can get elected twice. So we'll definitely look into that. So we have one independent, 2 Greens, 14 Liberals at the moment, which is party status. Numbers have gone as low as 12, and I've seen them as high as 16. The NDP currently sitting at 26. They had been at 24 for most of the evening. 4 of the 4 electoral districts that results would be coming in late. There were certain of them that were in a favorable NDP riding, so the additional 2 might be results from those 2 districts that have come in and that have added to the total. The interesting part here is for the progressive conservatives, they're coming in at 78, and if this maintains, um, it is going to be an interesting situation for the progressive conservatives, because when the election was called, it was allegedly called, remember, to secure an even bigger, even stronger mandate in order to be able to deal with Trump and his tariffs, right? That was the alleged pretext that Doug Ford called upon. So, and there was lots of talks of 100 seats, or like even like 90 or something of the sort, right? Um, he kind of set that bar. In the previous election, Doug Ford picked up. I'm not sure if I'm going to have to relook at this, because I'm looking on Wikipedia and it says 40.82%, and I think that might be 40.82% of the seats. Ooh, see, actually, breaking news coming in. The other question we were wondering this evening is whether Bonnie Crombie would win her seat. It seems she will not. CBC desk just confirmed that Sylvia Gualtieri, who is Patrick Brown's mother-in-law, won the seat in the district. The name is not written here, unfortunately. Mississauga East Cooksville. Sorry, there it is on my screen. Not a huge win so far. I believe the lead is about 1,000, a little fewer than 1,500 votes. So 16,534 to about 15,050, some 15,000, just over that. But it looks like Bonnie Crombie is not going to win her seat. So it looks as a big story of the night is though, even though it looks like Bonnie Crombie did bring the Liberals back to party status and did increase the vote share significantly. I think the Liberals are close to 30% of the total vote tonight. She herself did not win her seat, so there will be again a change within the Liberal Party, I am sure. I just saw something pop up on my screen. Evan Scripture already has his column up that says Bonnie Crombie must resign. Looking at the vote share right now, I see the Conservatives, the Progressive Conservatives with 43, Liberals at 29.6, NDP 18.6, and the Greens at 5. NBP, I'm guessing that's the New Blue Party, at 1.6, and others with 2.1. In terms of seat change, the Progressive Conservatives are down 2 seats from. I'm not sure if it's that from dissolution or from the previous election, but they are down 2. The NDP is down 4, and the Liberals up 6. So I'm going to guess that is. Yeah, I can't tell if that's from the down from the last election or from a dissolution at this moment, because the seat totals are indeed different. I'm gonna guess it's from. I can't tell, actually, to be totally honest. So the thing with Doug Ford, getting back to that, is that he was looking for a bigger majority. Last election, his party came out with 83 seats. Right now, he's got 74. So he went through all this gambling, even though he did secure his majority. It's a weakened majority so far, and now with 2 official parties, opposition parties with official party status, rather than just one. While it's a win, it's not a win, because he set the bar so high for himself. And at one point, like I said, they were talking about supermajority, Nova Scotia style. He didn't get that. Now it's close enough to what he has now, probably, to be safe, but in some situations, that would cause some people to be asking some questions. So not sure if it will be enough, given that it's only 4 seats fewer than he scored last time in 70 seats. There were 4 vacant seats at the time of the election. So at the time of the election, the Progressive Conservatives actually had 79 seats. So he's actually right now even with the number of seats he had at dissolution, if these results maintain. So in other words, I can't say he didn't gain anything. He will have gained another 4 years with the majority, clearly, but didn't increase his majority in any way. And given the manner he did set the bar, that is a failure. Will it be reported, spun, analyzed as such? Potentially, but maybe for a day or 2, and then they'll just move on, because if he went in with 79 and came out with 79 in 4 more years, he set the bar higher for himself, did not meet it, clearly, in that sense. But given everybody is willing to just gloss over every other failure he's had over the last 7 years of this Doug Ford parade of incompetence, there's no reason to see that they wouldn't here as well. The only question might be whether or not his party decides that he's not the guy to lead him into the next one, given that he couldn't grow it this time around. Maybe Doug Ford does 2 years, or if The federal election seems to go the way it appears for now it's going to go, with the bottom falling out of the conservative base and Pierre maybe losing or blowing the largest lead ever in federal, which would cause him to be booted from the party. And while Doug Ford likes to just slide on in where there's an opportunity where he doesn't have to do much work, and we all know he wants to be prime minister one day. So with these numbers, um, he definitely has a reason to jump ship to a federal party and federal leadership. Once that seat becomes vacant, should Pierre lose the next federal election, because uh, I doubt after yet 4 more years of Ford, if he hasn't grown his majority already this time, when he went in the optimal conditions for himself to try to suppress vote and get more. Um, I don't know how after 4 more years of him not doing anything for the basics, health, education, you know, those stuff, the core mandate of a provincial government, um, how his numbers are personally going to get better or his party's numbers are going to get better. So, um, a quick majority win and a quick exit from provincial politics while things are still good, maybe before an RCMP investigation comes along and a jump to a federal. Um, you never know. Uh, had he emerged from this with over with like 90 something seats or whatnot, then definitely the case for him staying would be there. I heard on a commentary show today that a good aspect of this might be that um, you know 79 or so. Uh, he might not actually really want more than that in the end, because that's a lot of people to manage with not a lot of goodies to hand out. Just put it that way. A majority with a smaller caucus uh, than a bigger one might actually be better management and better ability for him that way. Right now, Bonnie Crombie here is speaking at headquarters here. And for those of you kids who didn't know, I did have an opportunity to talk to her very, very briefly on Saturday here in Kingston. We were out at brunch with friends, and as we were finishing up, I saw her coming down the stairs where we were having brunch, and I thought, "Oh my God, she's in town!" So I looked up, and she was doing a campaign stop at Ted Shu's office, who we've interviewed on the show for the last when he was running for the leadership, because he was a leadership candidate against her. So we went down to our campaign stop. We did miss the stump speech, but we did have an opportunity to ask her a question or two. Um, we had it recorded on audio. Mr. Grizzly is trying to clean it up because unfortunately there was some music playing in the back. Christina Aguilera's Fighter, mostly, and then something else after. Campaign sort of theme music. It was really hard to just isolate her voice and my voice. So we're trying to clean that up. And then while we were there, we also got an interview with Ted Shu on video. But again, there was some, not so much the music. We got them to turn it off for that. But there was some other people there talking rather loudly, and the camera microphone picked up that. I didn't have the wonderful microphones that Mr. Grizzly sent me because I wasn't planning on that happening, so I didn't have them on me, which maybe I should carry them all the time in case stuff like that happens, just like a photojournalist always carries a camera. But there again, there were some sounds that cut over us, so hoping to see if that can get cleaned up so that we can show them to you. And I've got about an 8-minute interview with Ted Shu and about a 4-minute chat with Bonnie Crombie there. So unfortunately, it does not look like she will have a seat. Looking to see here, not sure if she's saying here in the speech that she's stepping down, because I've got it on captions, but as I'm looking at the camera to try to look to you, it makes it harder to follow what it is that she's saying, to catch the moment exactly to say whether or not. There you go. But she ends with something saying, "So that I can keep fighting for you." So I guess not here. It says that she's not going anywhere. Okay. So the commentators there. She's taking tonight's results as a building block. Uh, say claim. I'm guessing. I'm looking at commentary here by the commentators of CBC. Some references to having brought the Liberals out from back from the wilderness. I don't know if that was terms that she used in her own speech, but it seems that Bonnie Crombie, even though she does not have a seat, is going to stay on as Liberal leader. At least that's her intention, and might try to run for another seat when one becomes open. Of course, we will see if party membership Uh, will agree with that. We'll see. Again, she did bring them back to party status, so that might create a case, but is 2 seats above party status enough? It's kind of hard to tell. In terms of vote share, they did get too close to 30, and in the previous election here, it says 23.91. Again, I'm looking on Wikipedia, and that does not specifically tell me if that is. No, that is okay. Sorry. Yes, I can tell here that we have two percentage numbers here. So, yes, they pricked up to 23.91% of the vote. Now, last time I saw was close to 30. So, that's a 6 or 7% increase in vote share, which is, again, not bad. But again, because the Liberal vote is diffuse across the entire province, 29.6% for the Liberals nets them 14 seats, whereas 18.6% for the New Democrat nets them 25, because again, their vote is more regionally concentrated. NDP, MP, MPPs tend to be good constituency MPPs, same as the Greens, and therefore when people like them, they tend to like them very much. The Progressive Conservatives have picked up 43% of the vote, which is higher than last time. Last time was 40.83%, which might be a feather in Doug Fort's cap, though it didn't increase in seats. He did increase in vote share by a little bit. The NDP vote share, however, did decrease a lot. It was 23.74%, and this time 18.6%. There might be some questions for Marit Stiles as well, because even though 25 is official party status, they won 31 seats in the previous election. So that's a drop in 6 seats and a drop in vote share percentage. So Marit Stiles might actually be in danger when it comes to her leadership of the party as well this time around, which is bit of an interesting outcome here when it comes to that. I'm going to go look here in the chat and see if the kids have anything to say with regard to anything that has been going on here. And let's see, what else do we have? Okay, there's all the hellos there, and it was Jay Crick when he came in, and there we go. Let's see. Linda, my writing didn't need $200. They mindlessly vote PC regardless. Indeed. And by the way, Kit Linda, thank you so much for using the Doug Ford bribe dollars to support your favorite forest critters. Very, very grateful there. Kit Tabby G, welcome to coming in. Hello, hello. How I appreciate why Van Winkle slept for 100 years. Indeed, indeed, indeed. I see that. Kit Lori Sue, Trump could send me $5,000 and still wouldn't be able to buy me off. Indeed. Good. I like that. I like hearing that. Who else do we have here? Oh, Kit Elaine says, already have sent Dan the link. Thank you so much for being so helpful there. Jay Crick, no kidding, no amount of money would make me vote for a party that's closing all the ERs and opening rub and tug casinos. Ooh, rub and tug casinos. I don't know about that. I don't know if the Rob Ford Memorial Spa and Casino will have a rub and tug section. I have a feeling that may not be the case, because that would be definitely be a scandal if $2.2 billion went into that. Uh, I pray to God they have enough good sense not to do that. Oh, my word. Okay. Let's see, what else do we have here. Kid Empty Nest Gardens. I'm so pissed tonight's result literally triggered an aura migraine. Yeah. Just now starting to be able to see to properly type. I can see that. I can see that. I can see banging my head against a brick wall for the sole purpose that it feels so good when I stop after these results. I feel you, Kit Empty Nest Gardens. I feel you. uh, let's see. Kit Linda M. Bobby Ann Brady, Handmade Norfolk is the Independent. Exactly. Thank you so much for coming in there with the name. Very much appreciate that. See, that's why the Kits and Cubs. See, when Mr. Grizzly's not here, the Kits and Cubs fill in. See, they bring me the information that I'm not able to look up myself because they're always helpful like that. Thank you so much. Uncover says Rick Breeze wins Hastings, Lennox, and Addington. I'm not sure which party that is, however. So there we go. Who else do we have here? Kit Tavi going, every vote counts, right? Indeed. Indeed. I absolutely agree with you, Kit Tavi. Every vote counts. That's why we always say on the show, we don't care who you vote for. I mean, we do care who you vote for, but we don't care who you vote for. So please go vote. And we will never tell you who to vote for, but we will always tell you often, sometimes who to not, for whom not to vote, or very strongly hint, suggest, infer, whatever synonym you would like to use here. Oh man. Um, let's see who else. Yes, Kitsasi. There we go. Evan Scrimshaw is already tearing her up. Talking about Bonnie there, and like I said, I saw the thing come in, and I will definitely read that into the record a little. I'm seeing here this the Liberals flip Nepean with Tyler Watt's victory. Thank you so much. By the way, delayed Beaver Lodge bump because Tyler Watt is a young man that we saw potential in the previous election, and we brought him to the Kits and Cubs attention and told everybody that this will be a great constituency MP for whom you should vote. And I am so glad to hear because when he lost last time around, he made the commitment then and there to stay in for the next 4 years and campaign and do the constituency work in order to be able to take the win this time. He has done the work. He reaps the rewards. I am so happy for this young man. And keep your eye on him, Ontario. Keep your eye on him, Ontario. Would not surprise me if one day he's a party leader. He's got the stuff. He's got the stuff. Kitland Deb, you brought me the most fantastic news. I feel like I should buy you a coffee. Oh man. Okay, let's see here. And Algoma Manitoulin, the Progressive Conservatives Bill Rosenberg has now been confirmed elected over David Timierski of the NDP, who finished second there in that district. In Hamilton Mountain, Monica Cirillo of the provincial of the PCs is confirmed in that seat over Don Danko of the Liberals. About a 2,000 vote margin. Strategic voting may have helped there. Karen McCrimmon wins in Canada Carleton for the Liberals over Scott Fillon of the Progressive Conservatives. So she returns to her seat. I believe she was an incumbent there. And in Oshawa, Jennifer French from the NDP, also an incumbent, returns. A close race over Jerry Willett of the Progressive Conservatives. Fewer than 2,000 lead at the moment here. With but 16 of 45 polls reporting. So that lead might widen over the course of the evening. Let's see, what else do we have here? Billy Deneau wins Run Through Nipissing Pembroke, according to Kit Uncover. But I don't, those ones I don't know the parties. Ted Shue wins Kingston and the Islands from the Liberals. So there you go. We were just talking to him. That to me, there was no doubt, again, as we mentioned, an absolutely fantastic constituency MP and a physicist. And it's so nice to have smart people as your elected representative. Yay, science. Yay, science. I might be biased. I do share my life with a scientist, so I might be a little biased towards scientists and government. Let's see who else do we have. Here we go. Let's see. Going through the chat here. Linda M. Dougie wasted all that money and caused all this nonsense just to pretty much break even. It would seem so. It would seem so. Yeah, Kid Carlos, that means he did what he always does, waste the province's time and money. Oh, man. Kid Argosy Acres, I'm feeling politically defeated to the point where it feels like our voices don't matter anymore. Everything is corrupted now. We've lost control of the game. I can understand that feeling. I can understand that feeling. It's, you're not alone. You're not alone. You're not alone. I am, like I said, I tried to maintain the optimism and bring it along with, of course, the realism. But it's true. If you are in Ontario and you have been paying attention for the last 5 or so years, you do not understand this result. You just do not understand this result. You just don't. Um, and you know it's not going to get better because this particular premier doesn't seem to have any interest in anything at all having to do with actually taking care of people. So, yeah, I understand you, Kid Arcos Acres. I understand you. It's not fun, and it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough. Boy, I'm looking at the seat totals now. There's a gain for the PCs, 80 here. Now NDP 25, Liberal 14, Green 2, Independent 1. So that's there was a one seat that's going that's flipping back and forth. NDP, Progressive Conservatives at the moment, it would seem, but otherwise steady on the seat count. Let's see, what else do we have here in the chat? Jay Crick saying it's the smallest caucus ever. I'm not sure about that. Jay Crick, no one has a smaller caucus than me. Oh, man. Gee. Okay. There's a lot of people that are posting chocolate chip cookie emojis, and I'm actually getting very, very hungry right now. Somebody please send me some cookies. All right, let's see, what else do we have here. My useless 74-year-old MPP won with 25% of the eligible vote. I'm so exhausted, says Kit Bryan, who is also a new name to us here on the chat. Thank you for joining us, sir. And yeah, again, I can understand that feeling that you go. And again, some sympathy in the chat as well there. I can see it. Kid Ryan, I donated my $200 to my local high school. I donated my $200 to my local high school's breakfast program. That is a very good move. Thank you, sir. I am glad that you've done that. Wow. I should have thought of that, mentioning that on the show. That would have been a good thing to do. Hopefully, I will remember that for next time. But great initiative. Thank you for doing that. Again, see, Kit's doing democracy, right? Little actions, big and small. When you add them all together, it makes a lot of difference. Uncover the News says the Beaverton has the headline: Doug Ford celebrates majority win by demolishing closest hospital. Ouch. Kid Saucy says there will be a cheesecake buffet, perhaps. Oh, man. Jeez. All right, let's see, what else do we have here. In the chat here, let's see, Kit Kat W, hello, joining us, saying voting should be made mandatory. I do agree, mandatory with incentives, but not a punishment, like a $100 deduction or rebate on your tax returns, something if you vote, something like that. Let's see, what else do we have here? Kitlin M going, at least some good people won. Indeed. Let's see, what do you have here? Now don't don't tease Dougie about the size of his caucus. Ah, we love inappropriate double entendres here at the Beaver Lodge. See, I make so many of them when I do the extra that I'm not one to stand in judgment. I will not deny you. The same rules that apply to me apply to thee. And now we have Doug Ford coming on stage. He's gonna drone on in his Doug Ford way, and oh God. Gonna have to hear his voice for the next 4 years. Lord help me. All right. What else do we have here? Kit Emptiness Gardens. I really want to know the thought process of a voter excited to vote for Carney, but yet votes for Doug. Yeah, I mean, that would be an interesting. I'm sure in terms of priorities and thoughts and beliefs, there'd be an interesting Venn diagram as to why one would vote for one versus the other. I'd like to see the overlap. Yeah, that's a pretty good question, Empty Nest Gardens. Let's see. What else do we have here? Kit Suzanne can't wait for all the grizzly swears tomorrow. Oh boy, I might have to bring some cotton balls for my eardrums. I have a feeling Mr. Grizzly either did two things. He either watched it with the sound off, waited for the call to come, yelled "Father Mucker," maybe not with all the consonants in that in that order. Threw his hands up into the sky and said, "That's it. I'm going to bed." He might even have decided that he's taking tomorrow off. That would not surprise me. Because yeah, this won't make him happy. So either that happened or he just did not watch it at all because he knew it was a foregone conclusion and he just saved himself the stress. Right? Remember I said that? And we'll ask him tomorrow and we'll see how close I am, see if I know him well. It'll be sort of like our version of the Newlywed Game. All right. Let's see. What do we have here? Throughout the kits here. Let's see. Wordplay is fun in the damn fan chat, says Kid Jake Rick. Okay. There we go. All right. That's cool. So, if you are wondering now about the Liberal vote share, that's so high, and another reason that Bonnie Crombie might be staying, it has something to do with some polling numbers that I heard of this morning while I was listening to Curse of Politics. Curse of Politics is a podcast, believe it's from Air Quotes Media, and it's part of a series of podcasts, I think that are sort of spearheaded by David Hurley, who was a coordinator of one of Kathleen Wynne's campaigns, if I'm not mistaken. And in the course of the program, they were having daily numbers coming in from Relay Strategies, and as it was closing in, they had presented numbers with three different turnout models. So their basic turnout model, which is the basic top line number that was advertised, and it indicated the Progressive Conservatives had 48. The Liberals had 28%, the NDP 16, and the Greens 8. So the Greens didn't hit the 8. They came in at 5. The NDP came in at 18.6, so higher than the 16. The Liberals came in at so far 29.5 or so, which is above the 28. The Progressive Conservatives didn't hit the 48. They caught in at 43. So that model would have predicted 104 seats for the Progressive Conservatives, 12 for the Liberals, 6 for the NDP, 2 for the Greens. So it would have the NDP in third place, the Liberals in second, the Liberals gaining party status again, but the Conservatives with a supermajority of 104 and the NDP losing party status. That did not happen. Then the second turnout model was based on, was weighted to the 2022 election in terms of gender and age turnout. And there was not much difference there in terms of the numbers. Instead of PC's 48, it was 47. Instead of Liberals 28, it was 29. And the numbers for the NDP and the Greens were stable at 16 and 8. And the way that that changed the seats was 5 seats fewer for the Progressive Conservatives at 99, 6 more for the Conservatives at 18, 1 fewer for the NDP at 5, and 2 for the Greens. That did not happen. The third one was based on the number of people that claimed that they were extremely motivated to vote. And out of all the people that responded, that was about 49% of the people that responded, saying that they were extremely motivated to vote. So I would suspect as a result of this, that turnout would be higher than last time. I'm not sure how much higher, I would say, but I would suspect that as a result of 49% of the electorate saying that they were extremely motivated to vote, that turnout would be higher. So far, voter turnout as of the last update, 10:41 p.m., is 43.86%, which kind of matches last time. If there's more vote to be counted, that would indeed be a higher turnout. So that would be my suspicions were confirmed, would be confirmed by that. But out of all those who said that they were extremely motivated to vote, which was 49%, the numbers turned out 43% of the vote for the Conservatives, which was hit. 31 for the Liberals, not hit, but still 31 for the Liberals rather than 28 or 29, 19 for the NDP rather than 16, and 8 for the Greens, which would end up with results of 78 seats for the Conservatives, 22 for the NDP, 22 for the Liberals, and 2 for the Greens. The Liberals didn't hit 31, and that's the difference between 38, 28, and 31, is about 8 additional seats. So they didn't quite get that. But the Conservatives are currently at 80, and this model was 78. So when Bonnie Crombie was on the campaign and saying that she was feeling something, she was feeling some momentum, she definitely was, because of those who were saying that they were extremely motivated to vote. A lot of them were planning to vote Liberal, but it was like 2 or 3% insufficient for them to overtake the New Democrats as official opposition. But in this case, the campaign did matter. For the Liberals, the campaign definitely did matter. And Bonnie Crombie definitely did, by any measure, improve the fortunes of the party. So if she wants to make a case to stay, she could. But again, was it big enough? Just under 30% of the vote and just above official party status to make the case that she deserves a second shot? That will depend on loyalty of membership. I have a feeling that after 4 more years of Doug Ford and 4 years of Trump, and possibly, let's assume, even with a Prime Minister Carney, who will be not as austere as a Prime Minister Poilievre, there'll probably be some form of austerity of some kind, in some way. Might be an austerity light as we are rejigging and refocusing certain sectors of the economy, but there probably is going to be some. Right, if he's talking about getting the operational budget back in balance within 3 years, that's going to come at the cost of some cuts somewhere. But they probably won't be as marketed or as sharp or as deeply felt as ones that would be imposed by Polyev government. But after 4 years of that at the federal level and at the provincial level and seeing it stateside, um, it's quite possible that when Ontario voters want to vote for the next provincial government, that they might actually be itching for a return to something social, a social or a health or an education or society focus at this time. And mm, is Bonnie Crombie the best vehicle for that? Another question that people might want to be asking themselves. Now, of course, the Liberals don't necessarily have to make this decision right away. If the Conservatives got a 4-year mandate, they can test Bonnie out for another 2 years to see whether or not they would like to make that change earlier or wait to see how it pans out to see if she can grow. But yeah, I don't know. And right now, just noticing a change again in the seat count. It's now 81 for the Progressive Conservatives and 13 for the Liberals. So they've lost one. So again, teetering very close to that official party status. And the one that the Progressive Conservatives have gained from the NDP about 10 or 15 minutes ago has not swung back the other way yet. So that might be a permanent gain for the party at the moment. So yeah, people that may have been wondering or hoping that maybe there would have been a chance for a minority were sort of looking at the numbers of people that were extremely motivated and hoping that it might come from there. And while there was a bit from there. That's what stopped from Doug Ford from jumping from the 83 seats he had the first time around, or 79 at dissolution, to something like 104, which the original model, the relay strategies, and sort of general model without any weightings, additional weightings put on, was showing. And this, because 81 is still 23 seats below 104, right? That was the performance, the improvement in the vote share from the Liberals and the efficiency of the vote of the new Democrats. Because even though the vote share went down, they only lost 6 seats from the previous one. Only 6 seats. Only 6 seats when you're 31 is a lot. It's 20% of your seats still. So I mean, it's not just only, but um, so with 13, the Liberals will have gained fewer than the NDP lost. Let's put it that way if we're looking at it in terms of relative numbers, right? Now, in terms of gaining seats, the Liberals had secured 8 last time and gained somewhere along the way, so had 9 at dissolution. So, right now sitting at 13, 8 to 13 is, more than a 50% increase in seats if we want to have some fun with numbers, but it's still 13 and 1 above official party status, which is scraping by the skin of your teeth, right? So interesting results here. Nobody, it's kind of weird to say, if anything. Doug Ford clearly has to be seen as the big winner of the night because he gets another majority, but he pretty much failed on every other metric. And it's kind of hard to say that the Liberals are the big winners, but technically they are, with a vote increasing their vote share by that much and getting back to official party status, which is a very big win in terms of being visible and having resources and all that kind of stuff. And they get back there. But being seen as the big winner when you hit 13 is and then maybe technically it's maybe the big winner is that Bobby Hadwin, technically, for showing that an independent can win twice. But there doesn't seem to be, like I said, there's no big narrative here. Like I said, Doug Ford does get his majority. I mean, that will be the headline. That is the big news. But it isn't the supermajority that he wanted. As the kids mentioned in the chat, moved all this water to stay in the same place. So that won't matter to Doug Ford, of course. Right. But I do not know if the fact that he did not win bigger is going to send him a message that he's on a short leash, or not. He just interprets the majority as they still love me and I'm just going to keep going. So it'll probably be a keep going type thing, knowing Doug. The fact that he promised everybody that he wasn't going to do anything to the greenbelt didn't stop him from keeping going on the promise to put his hands all over the greenbelt. Right? So we are talking Doug Ford here. He is rather singularly minded as a politician. It'll be interesting to look at certain other results. I've been following some shows, and they were looking at saying you'd probably want to look at seats at Niagara Centre near the border and St. Catharines to see if those would remain NDP or make a flip to Progressive Conservative. The NDP was wondering if they would pick up in Sault Ste. Marie, and Liberals were wondering about St. Paul's Scarborough Centre, Bonnie Crombie's own seat, of course, which he did lose. Tyler's seat in Nepean, which he did win, Etobicoke Lakeshore, and Quinte. So I'll be looking at those ones specifically over the course of the next little while, as I'm either doing the show or preparing tomorrow morning show, to be able to see if the flips or the holds that people were wondering took place in those areas. Just looking here, Toronto Centre, Kristen Wong Tam is as an incumbent is returned there. Toronto Danforth, Peter Tabuns is returned there. They are both NDP candidates, and that was a healthy win for him here. Toronto St. Paul's, the one when we were wondering, Stephanie Smythe did take it over Jill Andrew, so that was a flip because Jill Andrew was an incumbent for the NDP. And University Rosedale, Jessica Bell is an incumbent for the NDP and is returning in her seat there. And Vaughan Woodbridge, Michael Thibodeau, incumbent for the Progressive Conservatives, very handily winning there by almost 13,000 votes, returning to his seat. Now, Marit Stiles, the leader of the NDP, is on stage to address her crowd. Here, of course, it says here, election night, 5 seats lost from last time and down 4.8% from last time, 25 seats this time, and an 18.8% vote share at the moment, indicated by CBC News here in their tallies. All right, let's go back to the chat with the kits and let's see what else you have here with us. All right, let's see here. All right. Let's see where I was the last time. Okay, there we go. My eggs look more like people talking about eggs. Yes. Fortunately, people were talking about throwing eggs, and I guess in Canada they're still not liquid gold enough. But eggs are food. Eggs are food. Fry them, or boil them, or scramble them, or not. But enjoy them in your body if you're able to ingest them. Get Jed going. If this bird flu keeps up, I won't waste the egg. That's definitely sure. Get Christian going. He will be breaking ground on the 401 wormhole. You gotta laugh, kids. Gotta laugh, kids, because it is a tiny bit, wee bit depressing. I will absolutely, completely agree. And for some reason, wow. The screen just completely changed on me here. The one thing that I found interesting on the night, if you were watching the CBC feed is when it was announced that the NDP had secured official opposition status, the level of cheering as if they had won, which I found really, really interesting. Uh, to me, at least, I found that interesting because it was once again sort of confirming the NDP. Like, let me put it: when you have polls that are indicating that you might not keep official party status yourself, and you do that well, I'm guessing yes, you do have a thing to cheer. But it's almost came as close as like, "Ooh, at least we beat the Liberals! Yeah, aren't we so good? Yeah." But if your vote share and your seat share went down, and you still are getting majority government of a stripe that doesn't care at all about any of the things you care about, and it's just going to make you pull your hair out for the next 4 years. I'm not sure how much cheering uh, was, uh, and then on the other side, not wanting to be a Grinch. I mean, campaign staff and volunteers, and whatnot, they all got there, and official part of opposition is still a big deal. So I mean, why would you not cheer? So I'm kind of mixed minds about it. Like, I'm trying to be fair, but I guess I'm saying that I have a personal bias with. A perception that I have that the NDP is perfectly happy to lose an election so long as they beat the Liberals. So that might be an unfair assessment on my part. It's just an impression that I keep on getting, often by ways in which they campaign. So, but again, that might be a very biased statement on my part, because I would like to see them swing at conservatives way harder than they do, or at least as hard as they swing at other liberals. Marit Stiles, I do have to say, did swing at the conservatives. It wasn't like Andrea Horwath last time. I mean, that was just a disgusting display. But the first 2 weeks of this campaign did turn out to be a progressive primary, where there was more time spent trying to attack the liberals in this case, and those of us who are, there are some of us that are on the more extreme side that would like to see the two parties merge, so so that the vote is not split. I'm not particularly in that camp. I respect that the parties have different identities, but I just it's like, I know you're supposed to want to win, yes, and that's okay, but can't y'all tag team? Can't y'all tag team? That's all. It's just anyway. Going back here in the chat here with the kits and cubs here. Let's see, where were you? Everything scrolled down a little bit when the page changed on me here. So let's see, what do we have? Kid Jen, all this cookie talk had me foraging. Indeed. Kid Saucy, Liberals and NDP need to step up their game. So does the public. We need grassroots programs to teach leadership and civics to individuals of all ages, or bolster the ones that already exist. I absolutely concur. I could not agree more, Kid Saucy. I could not agree more. We are big fans of civics education. There definitely should be more critical thinking classes, all that good stuff. We are all for it. That's a very astute comment. Kit Saucy asking about talking about Mr. Grizzly. Maybe not ask him about his mental health tomorrow morning. Yeah, maybe I should check in with myself instead there. Kit Linda M. Crombie has raised a lot of money for the party. That's part of the leader's job too, and maybe a factor. That is a very good point. If she showed that she's capable of being a good fundraiser, that might be a good reason to keep her on in terms of party leader. If she's been particularly effective there, because again, they didn't have official party status, so she had to do everything without any of that help as well. So, which makes the job much more difficult. You're doing it with one hand tied behind your back, and no seat in the legislature as well, as to be able to be visible every day and find a way to make it on the news. So that Again, yeah, two more feathers in her cap. I'm glad that you mentioned that. I had not considered those when I was talking earlier. So thank you for throwing that into the conversation. Very, very, very good comment here. Let's see, do we have here? Jay Crick, we need better organizing. Parties need to plan for the next election now. Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. You basically start planning for the next election the day the current one is over. If you're in PR and staffing and that kind of stuff. So I know that here. Jen, I went with an emotional support muffin for morale. Ah, kid Jen, I'll be your emotional support muffin. Oh man. Pardon me, kids and cubs. I just have to cough to clear my. There we go. Oh my word. You kids, you're so hilarious. I love you guys. You keep me entertained. Thank you so much. Let's see what else do we have. Emotional support muffin. Okay, now there's tacos along with the cookies. Y'all are just making me hungry. Y'all are just making me hungry here. Okay, what else do we have here? Um, Get Nina Canadian. I stepped in to say goodnight to my 13-year-old. They asked who won the election. When I said Doug Ford, they responded, "How?" Kids are so smart. Kitland and bloody hell, I really didn't want the PCs to break 80 seats. 82 now for the PCs, but the Liberals back at 14, and the NDPs are still at 25. So maybe that was a seat that had not, one of the few seats that had not reported yet that came in there because nobody seems to have lost a seat and the NDPs. The Liberals gained one, so there might have been two seats actually that came in that sense. Because if the Liberals got 14, they had to take that from the PCs, even though they gained. Okay, so a little switch there while I was following the chat. A slight little switch in the seat count. Yeah, closer the Conservatives gets to 83, is what they scored last time. So they will be, if they get 82, they will be returning to the legislature with more than they had at dissolution because of the 4 vacant seats. They only had 79. So, but still one seat below the total from the previous election here at 82 when they had 83 last time around here. Let's see. Here, Nina Canadian, I have new gray hairs today, and I blame politics for most of the new strands. Damn the shifty jerks. I could Doug Uncover the News has a quote from Doug Ford. Together we have made history. Together we have secured a strong, historic third mandate. Indeed. Indeed, it is a strong mandate. Indeed, it is historic. And indeed, it is third. There are no lies in that statement, unfortunately. All right, let's see. Suddenly some talk of merkins and gherkins and Birkins. No talk about jerkins yet, though. Okay. Jergens, the hand cream lotion. The hand cream lotion. Get your minds out the gutter. Although they do go together sometimes. Anyway, TMI. Mr. Jen going, gherkins always welcome. Yes, we do love pickle here at the Beaver Lodge. So, speaking of double entendres, oh my God! All right, kids and cubs. Jen, my weed vape thing is like, slow down, girl. And now Jay Crick is throwing burgers, and I'm gonna take that as a cup of hot chocolate rather than a cup of coffee into the chat. Okay, with gherkins, y'all are making me hungry. Y'all are making me hungry. Okay. In Nipissing, Vic Fideli is returned, unfortunately, here. Oh, sorry. Did I say that out loud? To a seat. And Northumberland, Peterborough South, David Piccini is also being returned for the Progressive Conservatives. And Oakville, Stephen Crawford is being returned for the Progressive Conservatives. These are close races. Effie Tianatafopoulos. I'm pronouncing that wrong, I'm sure, because it's going by quickly as a run in somewhere in the Burlington area. Stephen Blais has won in Orleans for the Liberals. So I think, and he's an incumbent returning. Oshawa Jennifer French returning there for the New Democrats. In Ottawa Centre, Catherine McKenney has won there. So that will make Mr. Grizzly very happy. He has a lot of respect for her. And Ottawa South, John Fraser, the incumbent, is returning. He's a great follow on X if you've got him. Do follow John Fraser's account. Lucille Collard, my MPP in Ottawa Vanier, very more than doubled the vote of her closest competitor to win. And Ottawa West Nepean, Chandra Pasma, very, very good constituency MP here, returned as the incumbent there. In Oxford, Ernie Hardiman is returning for the Progressive Conservatives, more than a 2-1 win for him there. And Parkdale High Park, Alexa Gilmore has won that one for the NDP. And they have a new no incumbents returning in that one. So that will be a new MPP going to Queen's Park. Parry Sound Muskoka, Graydon Smith, 21,171, and the Green candidate had 19,000. Again, came so close to securing that third seat for the Greens, but didn't manage. In Peterborough, Kawarthra, Dave Smith for the Progressive Conservatives, defeating the Liberal candidate by fewer than 2,000 votes. Peter Bethan-Falvey, Minister of Finance from Pickering Uxbridge, returns just over 3,000 votes over the Liberal. Renfrew, Nipissing, Pembroke, Bailey Deneau, very handy win over Oliver Jacob, more than 2-1 on votes there for the Progressive Conservatives. In Richmond Hill, Daisy Y, incumbent, returning, handy win here over the Liberal in Richmond Hill. St. Catharines, one of the ridings we talked to you at first, Jennifer Stevens returning for the NDP, but just more than 3,000 votes, so it was close with the PC candidate there. Sonia Lambton, Bob Bailey, incumbent, returning, very handy win there, more than 2-1 to vote for the Progressive Conservatives. Sault Ste. Marie, we were taking a look at that not decided yet. Chris Scott, 13,082, 12,964 for Lisa Vezo Allen for the NDP. That one not decided yet. Scarborough Agincourt, Aris Babican for the Progressive Conservatives, about 2,000 win over the Liberal there. Scarborough Centre, David Smith, fewer than a 1,000 win over the Liberal there. That was one of the ridings we were looking at. Scarborough Guildwood, Andrea Hazel for the Liberals returns there in that district. Scarborough North, Raymond Cho returns to that one with a healthy win over the Liberal rival in that district. Scarborough Rouge Park, Vijay Thanigas Salam wins over Morris Beckford, about 3,000 vote win in that one. Scarborough Southwest, Dolly Begum defeats Adi Daramola, and that's a win for the NDP, and they keep that seat. In Simcoe Grey, Brian Saunderson maintains his seat with a very healthy win here for the Progressive Conservatives. Jill Dunlop, unfortunately, maintains her seat as the Progressive Conservative candidate there in her district. Spadina Fort York has Chris Glover for the NDP returning to his seat. With a healthy win there. Stormont Dundas South Glengarry has Nolan Quinn with a more than 2-1 victory, even 3-1 victory over his Liberal rival for the Progressive Conservatives, returning in that one. In Sudbury, Jamie West returns for the NDP, keeps their seat with about a 2,000 win over Max Massimiliano of the Progressive Conservatives. And Thornhill, Laura Smith defeats Ben Dooley by a 2-1 margin for Buffaloes, and that's a win for the Progressive Conservatives, returning, keeping her seat. Kevin Holland for the Progressive Conservatives keeps his seat in Thunder Bay at Tikokan with a more than 2-1 victory, about a 2-1 victory, less than 2-1, but close to. Thunder Bay Superior North, Lise Vaugeois returns for the NDP, which in a close enough race. And Timiskaming Cochrane, John Van Toth, also a close race over the PC, but keeping the seat for the NDP. In Timmins, George Peary maintains that seat for the Progressive Conservatives with almost a 4-1 win in that one. As we mentioned before, Toronto Senator Kristen Wong Tam, all seats, all polls are reporting there. Toronto Danforth, Peter Tabbins with nearly a 3-1 on that one, with still 3 polls needing to report there. And that's a win for the NDP. Stephanie Smythe, as we mentioned, defeating Jill Andrew. So that's a pickup for the NDP, with all seats reporting in Toronto, St. Paul. Jessica Bell in University Rosedale, all polls reporting, maintaining that seat for the NDP. Michael Tibolo, keeping it for the PCs in Vaughan Woodbridge, more than a 2-1 win there. Waterloo has Catherine Fife for the NDP, maintaining that seat, also with a very, very healthy win. In Mr. Grizzly's district, again, Ottawa Centre, Catherine McKinney, as I was mentioning before, she was the person that was on the ground a lot during the convoy, making sure that people were all right. And when we talk about doing the work in your constituency, making the trick for you, so far, with 116, so all polls reporting, she picked up 32,483 votes. Thomas Simpson of the Liberals was the closest. He picked up 13,591. She won by 18,892. Right? She more than doubled the vote total of someone who brought in nearly 14,000 votes, because she was so on the ground and did the work. So this is a big victory, and very, very deserved. And it will be the one point of light, when we keep on talking about microdosing hope. And I thank very much the folks at the Daily Beans for giving me that expression. But that's what's going on. In Nepean, also, for those of you who were wondering about Tyler Watt, I see his beautiful smile right here on my screen. 22,683 votes for him, over 17,962 for the Progressive Conservative candidate. That's with 52 of 52 polls reporting. So all polls reporting. So 4,721 leads. So a fairly close race in that district. But again, he too put in the work, as I mentioned before, and pulled it out. So very, very happy. It would be Lorne Coe has won for the Progressive Conservatives, and that's a close race. It was about 4,000 win here. Stan Cho, of course, wins in Willowdale. Very, very, very close race. 14,026 to 13,571. That's fewer than 600 seats in that electoral district. Had somebody gone to one of those strategic voting applications and picked up, that's a seat that could have been taken away for the Progressive Conservatives pretty easily in that one, given that the very low margin of victory. And Windsor-Tecumseh, Andrew Dowie wins that one fairly comfortably over the NDP candidate. In Windsor West, Lisa Gretzky from the NDP retains that seat with about a 5,000 vote win over Tony Francis. In York Centre, Michael Kersner from the Progressive Conservatives retains that seat. Again, Kits and Cubs, when I'm talking about MPPs who do the work, I talk to you about Ted Chu a lot in Kingston and the Islands. 33,288 votes for him. The Progressive Conservative candidate Ian Chappelle, 12,022. He won by 21,266 votes. Again, more than 2-1. Almost 3-1. Almost 3-1. That's what being a good constituency MP does for you, with all polls reporting. So, again, you got to look for the people that are doing the work. In York Simcoe, Carolyn Mulroney is returning as the incumbent there, with a very healthy, more than 2-1 victory for her in that one. York Southwestern, Mohammed Firan, very close race against the Liberals, Danielle DiGiorgio. That one is not decided yet. But Farine is leading by 144 votes only. Again, the NDP's Faisal Hassan has 8,101, so that's another place where some strategic voting could have helped. But so far, very close maybe potentially recount close. I'm not sure on this one, but that might be one of the closest races of the night out there. All right, let's see what else do we have in Kiwitinigung. Sol Mamakwa, yes, of the New Democrats returns. Also, great constituency MP, Indigenous MP as well. Lovely. I'm so happy. I'm very, very happy to see that, to see him returned. That makes my heart smile. Dave Ploudre in, oh boy, I might have to, this one might be Mushkegowuk, James Bay. Okay, yes. This is an electoral district that our kids may know, because last time and last one we had Jules Mongeon, who was the candidate for that region for the Liberals, come to our show and give us, not Jules Mongeon. Oh, darn. Oh, darn. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I'm so sorry, sir. But the candidate did indeed come to our show and give us an interview in English and in French, because in Northern Ontario there's a very strong Franco-Ontarian community. He did not decide to run again this time, but yes, that one's a very, very close race with Dave Ploudre of the PCs with 3,576 and Guy Bourgain of the NDP, who would be the who is the incumbent with 3,536. So it's just a 40 vote lead for Dave Ploudre, with 2 precincts or polling stations left to report. So that one might swing over the next little bit as well. So we'll keep our eyes out on that for you kits and cubs. In Ajax, Rob Suryanak, sorry, am I pronouncing that right? Surjanek from the Liberals has a very slight lead, just over 300 votes over the PC incumbent in that district, Patrice Barnes. They are at 42 reporting, so I'm guessing they're counting the final votes in that. But if that does happen, that would be a flip of a seat from the Progressive Conservatives into the Liberal column. So that must be that seat that's been going back and forth between 14 and 13 on the tally there. So that's an Ajax. In Algoma, Manitoulin, Bill Rosenberg, as we mentioned earlier, has taken that seat for the Progressive Conservatives. Aurora, Oak Ridges, Richmond Hill, Michael Parsa has taken that seat. If you remember his name, is we asked you to send some letters to him, because he is the minister, I think, of communities and families, and he's the one I was asking you to send letters to in order to bring his attention to the situation of kids in care in Ontario, because we have lots of children in foster care system that are not living in the best of conditions because there's not enough homes for them, and we even have situations where parents that have high needs kids who are surrendering them to the Children's Aid Society, asking them to take care of them for them because they don't have access to the services, but neither do the Children's Aid Societies, because the services just don't exist. They've not been funded. So Michael Parsa is the minister to whom we were asking you to send letters to let them know that you wanted to see some action on that you wanted the most vulnerable children in the province to be well taken care of, and not sleeping in bed-bug infested motels, Airbnbs, or in the offices of Children's Aid Societies because there was no place to put them. In Barrie, Springwater, Oro Medonte, Doug Downey will be returning for the Progressive Conservatives with a fairly healthy win there. In Bay of Quinte, Tyler Alsop will be returning, a healthy win there, but we were looking at that one because if that had gone Liberal, we were going to be looking at way more than 14 seats. Beaches, East York, Mary Margaret McMahon returns as an incumbent, more than 2-1 victory for the Liberals. In Brampton Centre, Charmaine Williams returns as the incumbent for the Progressive Conservatives. A healthy win there. Brampton East, Hardeep Grewal returns as the PC candidate with a close to 2-1 victory there. Brampton North, Graham McGregor, also close to 2-1 victory there for the Progressive Conservatives, taking that seat. In Brampton South, Pradmeet Sarkaria, almost again a little less than a 2-1 there, maybe 3/4 of the way, not 2-1. But a healthy win there. In Brampton West, Amarjot Sandhu is returning for the Progressive Conservatives, and again, almost a 2-1 win for them as well. In Brantford Brant, Will Bouma is returning for the Progressive Conservatives, a 2-1 win over the NDP candidate in that district. And Bruce Grey, Owen Sound, Paul Vickers of the Progressive Conservatives takes that seat. I believe there were no incumbents in that one, so this will be a new MPP over Selwyn Hicks of the Liberals. A very healthy win, but this is an interesting result for the Greens here because this is one of the few districts in which the Greens actually finished third. Joel Lougheed picked up nearly 5,700 votes in Bruce Grey, Owen Sound. So that might be a district that the Greens start focusing more on in the future because it looks like they have a solid candidate there with whom they can build over a course of a couple of election cycles in order to take that district over the long term. So that's interesting. In Burlington, Nathalie Pierre from the Progressive Conservatives is maintaining that seat. Actually, not maintaining because right now it's only 87 out of 90 districts reporting, and it is very close. Nathalie Pierre has 22,511, and Andrea Grebenk of the Liberals has 22,166. So it's about a 350 vote lead for the Progressive Conservative candidate in Burlington. So that is one that could flip. If those, that's one that could flip back into the Liberal column over the course of the evening. So hopefully we will get to see that happen. Keep the Conservatives down a little bit more. Taking the small wins at this time. In Cambridge, Brian Riddell wins for the Progressive Conservatives, a healthy win there. Carlton, George DeRuse will become a new MLA for the Progressive Conservatives, winning that one in Carlton by about 6,000 votes. In Chatham, Kent, Leamington, Trevor Jones returns as the incumbent for the PCs with a very healthy win there, 3-1 over the Liberal rival. In Davenport, Merritt Stiles, leader of the NDP, is returned with a nearly 3-1 victory over her Liberal rival there. In Don Valley East, Adil Shamji, very, very reputable MPP. No surprise there that he would be re-elected. And Don Valley North, Jonathan Tsao from the Liberals has taken the seat over independent Vincent Kay. Vincent Kay used to be a progressive conservative candidate, and I believe that his name had actually, I will not say that out loud yet without double checking that because I would hate to be wrong. Yes, indeed, I was correct. My suspicion. He stepped down from caucus on March 10th, 2023 from the Progressive Conservative Caucus following allegations of involvement in Chinese government election interference. So he was the incumbent candidate in that district, was running as an independent and clearly did not win. And that was a flip for the Liberals in that electoral district. And Don Valley West, Stephanie Bowman for the Liberals is returning as the incumbent there, defeating the Progressive Conservative candidate by a fairly healthy margin. Let's see, what else do we have here as results are coming in? In Dufferin Carlton, Sylvia Jones, unfortunately, as we mentioned, returns as the alleged Minister of Health, I would guess. And Durham, Todd McCarthy returns for the Progressive Conservatives. Very healthy win for him there. So no surprise there. Eglinton Lawrence, Michelle Cooper. This is a race that has not yet been decided, but Michelle Cooper of the Progressive Conservatives has 19,556 votes at the moment. Vince Gasparo of the Liberals has 19,389. So that is a, 147 vote lead for the Progressive Conservative candidate. And in this district as well, the Green candidate, Leah Taiso is taking the third spot, which is interesting to see, but trailing by a lot over the first two, not even cracking 1,500 votes for the Green candidate in the Eglinton Lawrence. But this one is a very, very tight race between the Progressive Conservatives and the Liberals. So if those two tighter races that we just saw, in which the Progressive Conservatives are leading, do ultimately go Liberal, that would bring the PC total down to 80. And if there's one more like that, maybe back under the 80, which would make one of our kits specifically happy, who was hoping that they wouldn't cross the 80. So if you're still up and listening, there might be a chance that you get your wish after all. In Eglinton, Middlesex, London, Rob Flack is returning for the PCs, more than 2-1 vote in that one. In Essex, Anthony Liardi is returning for the Progressive Conservatives, way more than a 2-1 vote on that one. Etobicoke Centre, King Asurma unfortunately returning over John Campbell of the Liberals, but a fewer than 3,000 vote lead there. So it was close race. Etobicoke Lakeshore, this is a flip for the Liberals. Lee Fairclough defeats incumbent Christine Hogarth of the Progressive Conservatives. So that's a flip for the Liberals. In Etobicoke North, Doug Ford does return as in his seat. Now, I don't know if there's just not a lot of voters in that district, but he does return with a close to 2-1, slightly less than 2-1 victory over their most close rival. But as we showed you in Kingston and the Islands, there was 33,000 votes for Ted Hsu. In Etobicoke Centre, Doug Ford picked up 15,120. So I just don't know if there are fewer residents specifically, but that seems like a low number of votes specifically. People might have thought it was a foregone conclusion and felt that he didn't really need much help. That might have something to do with it. But yeah, but a win's a win in that sense. So there you go. And Flamerau Glanbrook, Donna Skelly of the Progressive Conservatives will return as the incumbent there. Glengarry Prescott Russell, Stéphane Sarrazin for the Progressive Conservatives will return there with a healthy lead over Trevor Stewart. And Guelph, Mike Schreiner of the Greens does return as the MPP, as we had told you earlier in the evening he would. So that's the case. But again, with as we mentioned, here we go, Mike Schreiner, 34,328 votes versus 14,383. So in this district, Guelph, like the top three candidates, over 50,000 people showed up to come vote. In Doug Ford's riding, the top two candidates, about 22,000 people showed up to come and vote. So I would be surprised if there were more people living in the district of Guelph than in Doug Ford's district. I mean, I guess I could be wrong. But clearly a lot of enthusiasm for Mr. Schreiner. Picked up 34,000 votes. Doug Ford picked up 15,000. Just things that I'm noticing. As mentioned, in Handmaid Norfolk, Bobby Ann Brady, again, same question, same thing here, 33,669 votes over the PC. An independent candidate picked up 33,000 votes, but Doug Ford picked up 15,000. Again, I'm not sure if there's supposed to be a message in there. Very weird. Very weird. Halliburton, Kawartha Lakes, Brock, Laurie Scott will be returning for the Progressive Conservatives in that district. In Hamilton Centre, Robin Lennox takes that one, who will become a new MPP for the NDP. No incumbents in that district running. Hamilton East, Stony Creek, Neil Lumsden will return as the incumbent for the Progressive Conservatives with a healthy win there. Hamilton Mountain, it was a close race, fewer than just over 2,000 win for Monica Sorello over Don Danko. In Hamilton West, Ancaster Dundas, Sandy Shaw of the NDP is returning in that one. Close race in that one. And Hastings, Lennox, and Addington, Rick Brees is from the Progressive Conservatives, returns there. And as I'm reading these results to you, they're showing us scenes of the Liberal Party room, and they're already dismantling things and taking stuff down as the broadcast is going on. So the gathering was indeed very short there. In Humber River, Black Creek, Paul Nguyen is ahead of Tom Rakochevich of the NDP in that one, which would make it a PC flip. However, it's 47 to 52 reporting, and the lead in this one is only 92 votes, so this one could flip. So that would be another one for those who are hoping that the Progressive Conservatives come in under 80. If that one flips back to the NDP, that would be one less in the PC column, and that would go a long ways towards that. So for those of us who are hoping that the Progressive Conservatives really get knocked down a peg and end under 80, there is still actually a lot of hope. There's 3 races where the votes are fewer than 200 difference. All right, let's see what else do we have here for you, kids and cubs, in terms of results coming in. And Huron Bruce, Lisa Thompson returns for the Progressive Conservatives, close to 2-1 victory there. So that was pretty clear. And Kanata Carlton, Karen McCrimmon, as we mentioned earlier, close race over Scott Fellon, but about a 3,000 vote win for her, returning as the Liberal. And Kenora Rainy River, Grade Rickford returns a very, very healthy win. Nearly more than 3-1 victory for him there for the Progressive Conservatives. And King Vaughan, Stephen Lecce, unfortunately returns with the more than 2-1 victory over Jillian Vivanova in his district. Kingston and the Islands, as we mentioned, Ted Hsu over Ian Chappelle, nearly a 3-1 victory here for him, and deservedly so. In Kitchener Centre, Aislinn Clancy of the Greens with a nearly 2-1. It wasn't even a contest for her. Retains the seat, and this is very, very good because Aislinn Clancy actually earned that seat in a by-election and was able to maintain it for the Greens. So not even having had a full 4 year has been able to make her mark as a constituency MP, and they liked her so much that they kept her and voted her in by more than 2-1 victory. That's solid for the Greens. So that means that's 2 very, very, very solid seats for them now that they can run off and try to pursue more from that point on. In Kitchener Centre, Mike Harris, I guess the other one, not the one that was premier, keeps that seat for the PCs. That's Kitchener Conestoga over there. A healthy win over Joe Going of the Liberals in that electoral district. And what else we have? Kitchener South Hespeler, Jesse Dixon returns as the PC candidate there as the PC representative. Lambton, Kent Middlesex, Steve Paysoneau, 2-1 victory over there for the Progressive Conservatives, maintains that seat. Lanark, Frontenac, Kingston, John Jordan maintains that seat for the Progressive Conservatives also. A very healthy win over the Liberal candidate. And Leeds Grenville, oh boy, this is a long one, and it's written so tiny that I cannot read it all. Sorry. But Steve Clark, unfortunately, Steve Clark, if that name rings a bell, he was I believe the Minister of Housing under which the whole Green Belt debacle imploded, and he was booted from cabinet for a while, but returned. Doug Ford made room for him very quickly after. So it appears that he has been returned, and by a very healthy margin, which makes me wonder. Yeah. So this is Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands, and Rideau Lakes. So there we go. I was able to read the whole thing. But it was written very small. It's a big mouthful on a little thing this big. All right. Let's see, what else do we have for you, kids and cubs, in terms of results coming in. In London, Fanshawe, Teresa Armstrong for the NDP wins that one handily. It keeps the seat in the NDP column there. London North Centre, Terence Kernagan also maintains that seat. A very healthy lead for the NDP. In London West, Peggy Sadler for the NDP also maintains that seat with a healthy margin. So the NDP very strong in the London area. Markham Stillfield, Paul Calandra unfortunately returns. He had a bit of a contest though over the Liberal, about a 4,000 seat win, a 4,000 vote win there. Markham Thornhill, Logan Kanapathy for the Progressive Conservatives maintains that seat, again about a 4,000 win. Markham Unionville, Billy Pang for the Progressive Conservatives maintains that seat, nearly 2-1 victory for him in that one. In Milton, Z. Hamid, a close win over Christina Tesser Dirksen of the Liberals, about a 3,000 vote, 2,500 vote there on that one for the PCs. Mississauga Centre, Natalia Kusendova returns for the PCs, about a 2,000 vote there. Mississauga East Cooksville, as we mentioned, Bonnie Cromie loses that one to Sylvia Gualtieri by just over 1,000 votes. Mississauga Erin Mills, Sharif Sabawi, this one not decided yet in a race against the Liberals' Kassir Dar. Sabawi has 16,665. Kassir Dar has 16,645. It's literally a 10 vote lead in Mississauga Erin Mills, with Sheriff Sabawi being the incumbent for the Progressive Conservatives and holding. This one will probably for sure go to a recount. They're in the last polls reporting in this one. So we'll see how that one pans out. In Mississauga Lakeshore, Rudy Cuzetto wins that one over Elizabeth Mendez by fewer than 2,000 votes. Mississauga Malton, Deepak Anand defeats Jawad Haroon of the Liberals by about 4,000 votes there, keeping that seat. Mississauga Streetsville, Nina Tangri maintains that seat for the Progressive Conservatives over Jill Promoli. Nepean Tyler Watt, as we mentioned, very healthy win over Alex Lewis. There will be a new MPP for that district there. Showing a graph here. Total votes cast so far, estimated turnout so far, 45.5%, so slightly higher, just fewer than 5 million votes total so far counted. That'll probably go up, of course, over the night. The Progressive Conservatives have crossed the 2 million vote threshold. The Liberals are just under the 1.5 million. NDP over 900,000, but about 80,000 away still from the 1 million vote. Greens closing in on 250,000 votes. The New Blue Party, 80,000 votes for them, and other parties and independents and stuff like that, 105,000 votes out of the vote tallies so far counted this evening. In Newmarket, Aurora, Don Gallagher Murphy for the Progressive Conservatives has secured that seat over Chris Ballard of the Liberals with just over a 2,000 seat margin there. Let's see. Niagara Centre, the one we were wondering about earlier on, Jeff Birch of the NDP has secured that seat over the Progressive Conservatives. So that's good. About a 2,000 vote margin there over Bill Steele. In Niagara Falls, Wayne Gates, same thing over Ruth Ann Neuwestig of the Progressive Conservatives, but a healthier win there, about 11,000 votes. Niagara West, unfortunately, Sam Oosterhoff will be returning, and he won by a 2-1 margin over the Liberal candidate there. In terms of, they're showing also a graph right now in terms of women elected. The Progressive Conservatives have elected 20 but have lost 4. The NDP have elected 15 but lost 4. The Liberals have elected 7 and have gained 3. The Greens have gotten 1 and have technically gained 1 based on the past election, but Aislinn, the Green candidate, a female candidate, was already in the legislature by virtue of having won a by-election. So this is a +1 based on elections of last time, and independents maintaining the 1, no change there. So 4 fewer women in the legislature. This time around, there will be 44 seats occupied by women versus 48 in a 124 seat legislature. In the Nickel Belt, France Gélina has picked up that seat for the NDP and is keeping it in the NDP column over the progressive conservative candidate in that district. In Nipissing, Vic Fideli, as we mentioned before, does return as the MPP. David Piccini returning for Northumberland, Peterborough South. So there you go. Oakville, Stephen Crawford returning for the Progressive Conservatives there over Alison Goel. About a 2,000 vote win there. Oakville, North Burlington, Effie, I can't pronounce that last name, Tienta Philippopoulos. There we go. For the Progressive Conservatives, wins that. Orleans, Stéphane Blais, as I mentioned before, keeps that for the Liberals. I'm just sticking around to see the Parry Sound one with the Green candidate to see how that happened. One of the PC seats have flipped back down to the NDP. So now PC's 81, NDP 26. So that was that close district that we showed you before that I was mentioning, but recently that seems to have reflipped back to the NDP column, which is nice. And I'm not sure if the thing just skipped. Oh no, it didn't skip. Sorry. I just forgot my alphabet. So yeah, so PCs are for those hoping the PCs end under 80. There's 2 seats left to flip with that, but we see the NDP now at 26, the Liberals at 14, the PCs with 81, Greens at 2, Independents with 1 in terms of the seats. And Parry Sound, Muskoka must be coming up. There we go. I have it for you. So the final numbers in that one, Graydon Smith of the Progressive Conservatives did win that seat with 21,731 votes, and Matt Richter of the Greens finished second with 19,360. So, yeah, just over 2,300 votes. 2003, yeah, just over 2,300 votes higher. So again, the Greens will have to work a little harder to be able to take that one away. But a very, very, very good showing in that one. And you can see that the Greens were right to put resources into that district, hoping that they would eventually win it. It did not happen this time for them, but over 19,000 votes is very good, and losing by fewer than 3,000 is also very, very, very good here for them. So they're looking here. Yeah. A couple more votes came in Mississauga, Erin Mills. So Sheriff Sabawi is now leading by 20 rather than by 10 when we looked at the last count. But yeah, very close race in that one over Kassiardar. We're hoping to that one flips to the Liberals, and that would bring the Progressive Conservatives back down to 80 if that were to happen in that one. But very, very close. It's been a long time that I've seen a race between 2 candidates be as close as 20. So good to see. All right, back to where you are, Kits and Cubs. If I can find you in my chat here. Let's see, where did you go? I'm going to guess up here. There you are. And other close places here. Chris Scott leading by 118 in Sault Ste. Marie over Lisa Verzeau. Mohammed Firin leading by 144 for the Progressive Conservatives. Whoa, okay. They are going a little too fast for me. So hold on, I will have to go back, Kids and Cubs, and I will do this a little more slowly. So Sabawi leading by 20 in Mississauga, Erin Mills there. So that is very close. Chris Scott and Sault Ste. Marie for the Progressive Conservatives, leading the NDP candidate Lisa Verzo Allen by 118 votes in that one. And I'm just going to look here. 60 of 60 polls reporting, so we're in the final numbers being counted there in order to count that. In York Southwestern, Mohammed Firin is leading Danielle Di Giorgio of the Liberals by 144 votes, also with 65 of 65 reporting, so they are in the final counts there. And Eglinton Lawrence, Michelle Cooper of the Progressive Conservatives is leading Vince Gasparo of the Liberals by 167 votes. Again, 76 of 76 reporting in the final ones, so also very close. And then there's a fifth one, Rob Suryanik. This one is a Liberal lead over Patrice Barnes for the Progressive Conservatives, who would be the incumbent. This one's a 331 vote lead with 42 of 42 reporting, and that's in Ajax. And those are the five closest races. So of the five, three currently being led by Progressive Conservatives, one being led by a Liberal, and one being led by a New Democrat. So if the Liberal and New Democrat can hold those, and the other three could flip, the lowest the Progressive Conservatives could hit is 78. And if the other two do flip towards the Progressive Conservatives and they hold the others, the highest they can go is 83. So the range for the Progressive Conservatives for the final one tally will is still between 78 and 83. That's where we're looking to see where they will end up or not. For the Liberals, it could get down to 12 for them. I'm not sure it's possible for them to get back down to 11 based on those numbers that I saw. So I think that their official party status is secured, but it could be with a just 12, like it could be with a 15. And NDP could possibly end with one more 27. So 25 to 27 looks like the NDP range, 13 to 15 looks like the Liberal range, and 78 to 83 looks like would be the PC range in terms of final numbers based on the few districts that are still too close to call. All right, kids and cubs, I will come back to the chat here to see what you have here for me. More Birkins for the Ford ladies, says Kit Jen. Okay, thank you. I'm not sure. Oh, laugh. Merkins, not Birkins. Okay, that makes more sense. Oh, pardon me. I have to cough. You made me laugh so much. I had to cough. So that's how the gherkin thing came up. Okay, I missed that. Okay. Yes, my weed vape thing is like slow down girl is where I last left off. That was Kit Jen saying that here. Um, all right. Let's see. Kit Lori Sue, best chat ever. Thank you so much. Jen, I'm down to my last mini muffin. I didn't have any muffins at all. I should have gotten myself here. I should have got myself some here. Let's see. What do we have here? I believe I'm hearing my beaver sweetie in the room behind me, but I'm not sure. Is that you, my love? I'm here not hearing anybody saying yes or no, even though I am hearing rustling. So I will continue. Let's see. Oh, Kit Misadventure, who was with us for a little bit, said good night to you all. See you in about 8 hours. Sorry I missed you. Missed a chance to say good night. But thank you for dropping on by to our special. Kit, Jen here, and so shines a beaver in a weary world. Aw, thank you so much. Oh, so sweet. All right, let's see. What do we have? A little talk about Ruby Dalla. A lot of people singing na 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 na, hey hey, goodbye to her. Okay, yeah, that's all right. We like that. Oh, Jay Crick found a hidden stash of peppermint tea. So maybe that'll keep him up for the rest of it. The Liberals closing in on the 30 exactly in terms of the vote share, now at 29.9, just to say they have not hit 30 officially. If you're rounding up, of course, you'll say 30, but not hitting it itself. NDP at 18.5, Greens at 4.8, PCs at 43 at the moment in terms of vote share. Kit J. Crick at least merit won her seat. She's a fighter. And yuck, Dr. Death is back. I'm guessing that refers to Sylvia Jones there. Mr. Jim, sorry guys, I can't take more of this tonight. I'm out. Understandable. Hope you rest well, good sir. Hope you rest well. Jen, I forgot about the bee. Yes, indeed. The bee did not. The bee also, like Ford, did not get the job done. Oh, that's terrible. I should not make that joke. I retract that joke. That was not cool. That was not cool. Okay, let's see what else. Nina Canadian, you are offering excellent coverage, Douglas. Thank you. Oh, and J. Craig Douglas with a trophy. Well, thank you. I will do this. Yay, me. Oh, thank you so much for the very kind compliments, Kits and Cubs. I love you. I love you guys. Thank you. Kit Saucy, Spillproof cups help with the little one, and the others are pretty good with their water jugs. I try to avoid juice too much for their teeth and my sanity. The mattress cover is very helpful. I'm guessing you are not talking about MPPs in the Ontario legislature with that one, Kit Saucy. Kit Saucy, Mr. Beaver is a fantastic election night host. Always lots of information and good commentary. Wow. Thank you. Thank you for the love. CBC is now signing off, I see, from their election night coverage. So I guess we will be signing off soon too. I will just finish going through the comments and take a little check on the Elections Ontario website before chatting out with you, before signing off for the evening, because I still have a show to prepare for tomorrow morning, and it's already midnight. So you may have a little bit of sleepy beaver. Jay Crick says Douglas is a natural. Oh, thank you, love. Thank you so much. You guys are good for you guys are good for my heart. You're good for my soul, and you're good for my ego. And I appreciate all the love. And part of me wants to go, no, stop. But I really want you to keep it coming. So thank you so much for the love. Glad you found us, says Kit Saucy to Kit Carl. And Kid J. Crick says, Carlos, glad you are here. And we definitely are. All right, kids and cubs, I will take a very quick surf onto the Elections Ontario website to see if I have any last little bit of information that I can glean for you to make sure that everything is fully covered, because I like to be thorough. According to Elections Ontario, 99.76% of polls have reported. That's 8,060 of 8,079 polls. So all those 5 ridings that were waiting on decisions, whatever is not fully counted in a few polls, plus 19 other polls, is all we are waiting for to get those final decisions. The Progressive Conservative Party of Ontario has 42.98% of the vote and 80 seats at the moment. So according to Elections Ontario, one more seat has slipped from the Progressive Conservatives since we last checked in. So that puts them at 80 on the nose. One more has to go for them to get under the 80, which somebody had wished for. The Ontario NDP has 18.55% of the vote and 27 seats, so they've gained one more. The Ontario Liberal Party has 29.92% of the votes and is just shy of 2,000 votes of crossing the 1.5 million mark and has 14 seats. The Green Party has 2 seats, 4.84% of the vote, and they are fewer than 8,000 votes away from crossing the 250,000 mark. I'm not sure that's there, though, in 13 polls for them. The Independents, as we mentioned, 1.08% of the vote, 54,000 votes and 1 seat. New Blue Party, 80,000 votes. And if we're looking at some of the smaller parties here along the way, the Ontario Party picked up 26,000 votes, so about just 1/2 of a vote share. The New Blue Party picked 1.6% of the vote share. The Libertarian Party, 7,684 votes for 0.15%. The None of the Above Direct Democracy Party, 4,704 for 0.09% of the vote. The Communist Party, because there is a Communist Party in Ontario, picked up 2,294 votes or 0.05. The Ontario Moderate Party, it's nice to see, it's interesting to see what the names of all the other parties that are there. But the Ontario Moderate Party picked up 2,177 votes for 0.04%. The CPO, which I have no idea, I'm going to guess maybe Christian Party of Ontario, but I don't know what CPO stands for at all. I would have to look that up. 1,610 votes. The Freedom Party of Ontario, honk honk, 1,379 votes. The Stop the New Sex Ed Agenda Party, 1,353 votes. Populist Ontario Party, 706 votes. The Alliance Party, 648 votes. The Northern Ontario Party, 639 votes. The Progress Party of Ontario, 598 votes. The CCP, don't know what that stands for, 582 votes. The Party for People with Special Needs, 397 votes. And the Electoral Reform Party picked up 240 votes. Just looking up very quickly if I can find the information for you. The CPO is, I was mistaken, is not a Christian party, but is the Ontario Centrist Party. You'd think it would be OCP, but it's PCO. So the Ontario Centrist Party is CPO. Had no idea. And then CPP, the CCP party in Ontario is called the Canadians' Choice Party. And I do not know anything about it. A minor political party based in Ontario, led by Baman Yazdanfar, founded on August 26, 2011. Yazdanfar immigrated to Canada from Iran in 1986. Began a talk show on YouTube, which interviewed subjects ranging from mainstream local figures to political extremists. Yeah. Oh, great. Yazdanfar supported in 2015 in response to public outcry over Your Ward News, a local newspaper delivered to households in the Beaches that was banned by Canada Post for carrying anti-Semitic and racist content. Yazdanfar supported the publication via advertising in it and decrying the Ontario government's laying of criminal charges against the publication's publisher and editor for hate speech. Okay, well, I guess that would explain why it's a fringe party. I'm almost sad I read that into the record. Actually, let me retract that. I am sad I read that into the record, but my curiosity got the better of me. I needed to know what it was about because I had never heard of it before. Oh well. Last updated at 11:57 p.m. Kits and Cubs. Voter turnout 45.35. Not stellar. Registered electors 11,065,813. So there you go. So Kits and Cubs, I think that is what I will leave you with at the moment. Progressive Conservatives 80, Ontario NDP 27, Liberal Party 14, Greens 2, Independent 1. Still a chance of a 79 for the PC Party of Ontario for those who are hoping for that. Even if it's just psychological. But yes, Doug Ford returning to the legislature with a smaller majority than he had when he won the most recent election. And now I know my beaver sweetie definitely is in the room because I definitely hear rustling. All right. One final check in here with you, kits and cubs, in the chat. Uh, let's see. All right. And for some reason, my screen does not want to cooperate with me to let me see what it is that you are saying in the chat at the same time. Um, for some reason, I do not know why it is being capricious at this particular moment, but it is. So, unfortunately, I cannot see the final last little bit of comments that you have for me in the chat tonight, kits and cubs, which is a damn shame. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe if I do this, I'll be able to. Well, damn, ain't I a genius? I'm getting better at this computer thingy. All right, kits and cubs. Just checking in with you at the one last little bit here in the chat. Jay Crick, dream of a minority. Well, yes, but it probably will just remain a dream, unfortunately, kits and cubs here. Kitland, I'm going to hope I wake up in another timeline where there is no Doug Ford. Jay Crick, no kidding. Feel like I'm stuck in a rabbit hole. Kid Carlos, now we really need a dance party to forget about this a little. I am down. Tomorrow we will do the fundraiser. Just, throw some money at us and we'll shake it for you. I'm making the show sound like a strip club. Geez. Okay, let's see what else. Kitladeb, there's a party for everyone. Snakes and Ladders party. Kit Saucy, I think Beaver Party of Canada could do well. Who knows? Who knows? Again, I still don't think you might. I still don't think you would be wise to hand me that much power. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. It could go to my head. It could. I mean, look at all the power I already have now, and it's like my head is so big, but the crown doesn't fit anymore. That's why I got to keep it there. I love you. You are the absolute best. You make this all worthwhile. Okay, kids and cubs, that's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver Ontario election special. And please, premiers, could you please stop having elections for the next while? I would like to get some sleep, please. Not a stop to elections permanently. Just maybe no more elections this year. Although we're going to have the Newfoundland one anyway. But please, please, no more elections. Premier Beaver sounds great. Yes. Welcome to Canada, where we have some Premier Beaver for you. Not just any old beaver, Premier Beaver. Oh God, I am punch drunk. Okay, we hope that you love listening to us because we love making this for you. Remember, word of mouth and sharing is caring. So please tell your peeps and poops all about us. We love it when you do. If you would like to make sure that you do not miss an episode of our podcast, you do not have to. Thanks to the Ray Girl, who has sponsored our pod page, and that is podpage.com/the True North Eager Beaver, lowercase letters. Well, it doesn't matter actually if they're lowercase or not. But hyphen between each one of those words. That is important. So podpage.com/the True North Eager Beaver with a hyphen between each one of those words, sponsored by the Ray Girl. And if you go there when we have something fresh off the bandwidth in our podcast version, it'll come directly to you. So thank you so much to the Ray Girl for that sponsorship. It means the world to us. Now, if you would like to support us in other ways, you need to make like Kit Elaine and surf yourself on down to the True North Eager Beaver YouTube page, and that QR code that just appeared by my head will bring you there if you scan it. And that's where you can join the best damn fam in all of podcasting 5 days a week, Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. ish, 7:05 ish, really, tech willing, to start the show when we don't have well, even when we have a pre-record, because we broadcast it in the morning, so you can interact with some very, very lovely, delightful people. So if you haven't had a chance yet, please check it out. Don't miss out on the opportunity. It's well worth it for you. So thank you so much. And while you are on our YouTube page, please click on our buttons, like, share, and subscribe. As Kit Elaine likes to remind us, if you smash early, you don't have to remember to do it before you leave. Or, um, unfortunately, our buttons don't allow you to smash twice. But if you do it anyway when we're not looking, even though it doesn't out to the count, we won't judge. We won't. All right. So thank you for all your help there. Now, if you would like to help us in other ways, kids and cubs, well, have we got a deal for you? The Eager Beaver Lodge Emergency Hydration Fund, where a little contribution from you could hold on. Oh, empty. Could fill this cup right here with lovely stuff like hot chocolate or if it's Mr. Grizzly, coffee, sometimes Guinness, some Caesar, maybe a fruit smoothie. Again, because you are what you drink. If you would like to fill our cups so that it runneth over with abundance and love, because you appreciate what we have to offer you, we certainly would not object. And you can do so by going to our coffee page. Now that's coffee spelled ko-fi.com/eager beaver, lowercase letters, all in one word. Or if you scan that QR code that just appeared by my head, that will bring you there too. It's really our tip jar, but we call it the Emergency Hydration Fund because we ask you to keep us moist so that we can keep delivering this show to you. It really matters. I mean, a dry beaver is a terrible thing. I think we can all agree. So if you would like to keep your beaver moist, then a little contribution in the form of coinage right into the cup does the trick. Save a beaver. Give them your tip. Scandalous. Okay. Anyway, I am terrible tonight. Coffee.com. Now, if you go through that, of course, you will have to deal with PayPal. And since we are 100% Canadian, if you are participating in the boycott and would like to bypass PayPal, truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com is our email address. And through a direct transfer through your bank, you can do the whole transaction 100% Canadian style. And bonus is that 100% of your donation comes to us. The little cut doesn't come off to go to PayPal. So if you don't want to support a US based CE bro, do it straight through your bank. Well, do it gaily forward through your bank through truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. All right. Thank you so much for all your support and generosity. Kid Saucy, I know Mr. Grizzly just cringed in his sleep. Probably. Probably. Yeah. Yeah. I do have that power. Okay. We're just being silly. Now, we do like to hear from you all as well. So that email address that you could use to send us an expression of your encouragement can also be used to share your views. We'd love to hear from you. So please write to us. And you can also reach us at the Blue Sky Beaver Lodge, at True Eager, at the Bad Place. Yeah, we're still there. Also at True Eager, Facebook, True North Eager Beaver. That's our original home on the web. Or if you're listening on YouTube, right down here in the comments section to let us know what you think. Good, bad, or ugly. If it's ugly, please be gentle. I'm sensitive. Okay. But we do want to hear it. All your contributions make the show better. Okay. Thank you so much. And we always read everything, not always able to respond, but we do absolutely read everything. Your comments mean the world to us. Because democracy is something that you do, well, we're going to take off voting in the provincial election in Ontario. That's no longer on the list because that's done. So those of you who have done so, please take a couple of days off. You've earned it, especially since there's only been 45% turnout. Take an extra day off for everybody else who didn't show up. You get their day off too. Okay. Uh, I'll make them do double time later. um, of course, Quebec Liberal leadership. Finally, we might have some time to start talking about that because I haven't mentioned a word about that on the show. There is a by-election happening in Manitoba coming up soon. We'll have more details on that. We've given that not a lot of attention as we've been focusing on the bigger stories, but we will get to that. And of course, the Liberal leadership race opportunities to vote have started now. I know some people are having trouble doing the confirmation thing and they're getting frustrated. Please don't give up. Keep trying. Sometimes you just have to, clean the camera or like just really hold it super super steady so that you can get all the barcodes if they want that type of stuff. It's frustrating, but it is worth it. Do stick with it. Okay. um so I think that is all. The democracy is something that you do. Words of wisdom. Listen, uh listen, we've got what we got in Ontario. And I think we all knew we were going to get that before the night started, and we were all somewhat resigned. We were hoping against hope that maybe we might get some type of pleasant surprise or some mitigating factor. That did not happen. Um, so our best hope is that Doug Ford, which is a weird thing to hope for, continues to be as crappy a premier as he is, or something catches up with him, and that there's a hue and cry for the public to get him to go early. And he just says, you know what, I just don't need this crap anymore. He goes. Now, of course, he did recently say he would like to be premier forever. So right now, me saying that, I hear the fat chance of that happening in the back of the room. But listen, uh, I I have no optimism or good news to offer you on this one. This is going to be a can't go over it, can't go under it, can't go around it, just gotta go through it situation. We're gonna have to grit our teeth and bear it. Um, raise our voices, raise hackles where we can, because we know that he does back down if public sentiment does turn against him on certain projects. He is a guy that does like to be liked. So that's probably our only power. So we got to use it over the next 4 years. Be vigilant. But hey, we're gonna get what we're gonna get. I guess, and I think with Doug Ford, it's pretty much predictable what we're going to be getting more of. So, we're going to have to remain vigilant and hope that other functions like the Auditor General and police investigations and whatnot do their thing, and that us getting mad when he decides to go too far will be enough to get him to pull back. The democracy's in our hands. We're gonna, since we didn't do it with the vote, we're gonna have to keep him on a short leash with popular opinion. And that's about it. That's the extent of my wisdom. I'm sorry. I wish I had something deeper for you, but I don't. I know it's disappointing. I'm disappointed. I couldn't offer you more, but I think that's sometimes you just got to face where you're at. I guess that would be, if there's any wisdom, sometimes you just got to face where you're at. All right. With that, kits and cubs, I do not have an Easter egg, and I'm pretty much all talked out. So I will just wish you a good night. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for the positive reinforcement and all the lovely little compliments. I'll just take one last little look here before we go. Yep, still 80, 27, 14, and 2 there with, let's see, how many more? Yeah, more polls reporting. Now there's only 9 polls outstanding rather than 19. So no change yet. All right, kits and cubs, that is it. Now I just need to remember how it is that I stick the dismount here. So I believe I need to cue the cock on myself in order to get this done. So I believe it's this one. You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, their uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. We are grateful to the Crier Media Network for its support, Pete Jarvis for our artwork, and Paul Joseph Something for our opening and closing sequence music.